So every week I cook a bunch of meals on Friday or Saturday. I package them up. I take some to Paul, our next door neighbor. I take a few to my mom because she's a great cook, but cooking for one is a challenge sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a way. I have never been fed by somebody without feeling loved. And that's what I want to pass on to other people, sharing a meal together, inviting people over. And it's so much easier to do when there's a plan.
Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Today. I am Rick Probst, winner of the coveted Blabby Award. Thank you so much for my really award-winning producer, Ezra Ortiz. He actually won a Gabby, which is real. Anyway, I hope you're having a great weekend. It is a beautiful Atlanta weekend, and we have the guest of guests today. She is one of my favorite. I would say favorite, but Lisa from Focus on the Family would get offended. So, but she is. Kathi Lipp has been on the show so many times over the years. She's got a new book out. By the way, she is author, speaker, Kathi Lipp, and she's got a new book. It's a menu book. It's called Sabbath Soup. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, thank you so much for downloading the podcast. I don't get it because I'm 64, but they tell me you guys are downloading them like crazy. In fact, machinery is smoking wherever you are because you're downloading it so fast and furious. You're watching it and you're listening to it. It's got to be the guests, not the host, but it's okay. I'm all right with that. But thank you so much. Go to faithtalkatlanta.com to listen, and you can find out more details and wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Kathi is usually trying to declutter us in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is with our menus. We're going to talk about a new book. It's called Sabbath Soup, Weekly Menus and Rhythms to Make Space for a Day of Rest. First, Kathi, how are you?
I'm doing great, and congratulations to you and Ezra on all awards, real or imagined.
I'm trying to keep up with Ezra, but I am so proud of him. We just found out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So, and it's not even for producing the show. It's for doing something else that he does here at Salem Media Group. But I digress. Hey, Kathi, it's always good to have you there. Thank you for in your studio there in Somerset, California, El Dorado County, where there are vineyards everywhere and probably bears, right?
Lots of bears. Yes, we have them come visit us on our front porch on a regular basis. So yeah, lock your cars, lock up your food, and don't go out in the middle of the night without some flashing lights and some things to run in. Yeah.
Hey, and thank you for setting me up for this segue, because speaking of food, and this is not your norm as far as historically, as I look back at our interviews and the stuff that you've put out, it's amazing stuff. But I saw this, couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, she's doing the menu thing. Listen, this is called Sabbath Soup. And this is a weekly menu and rhythms to make space for a day of rest. How come a menu book, Kathi, and why now? Is this something you wanted to do for a long time or what?
It's something, let me just be honest, it's something I've struggled with. You mentioned that you and I have talked about clutter a lot. And I feel like this was the next step in my journey because I really feel like people who struggle with clutter, like I am one of them. I'm not just the founder, I'm a member, right? But we don't do a good job of taking care of our future selves. We don't do a good job sometimes saying, if I do this now, my life will be easier next time. And Sabbath is the ultimate example of that. So often I was using Sabbath to kind of catch up on life. And what I realized is I needed to be doing a little less and planning a little bit more, because God doesn't want us to feel guilty about Sabbath. He says, Sabbath was made for the man. And so this in my decluttering journey, the hustle around Sabbath and cooking and meal prep was just the next step that I really wanted to conquer. And I'm really grateful for this journey.
Kathi Lipp, Kathy with an I and two P's on Lip, and she is the proud wife of Roger, our friend and
Yeah.
huge U2 fan. We love him too. Someday we'll get him on. These two have been a part of so many great, not only books but also their ministry to couples and families and
Yeah.
et cetera. It's good stuff. Go to kathylip.com. You can also go to sabbathsoup.com to find out more about this book. So you talk about in the book meals being ministry. Well, they certainly minister to me. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So, I think I'm the cook in our house, except for when it comes to the barbecue. And I like it like that because I enjoy cooking, but I don't always enjoy getting a meal on the table. There's a difference between cooking and getting, feeding people. But what I've really come to understand is if I plan, then it makes all of that so much more enjoyable and so much easier to share. Rick, you and I were just talking about it. We live in fire country here in California, and about 3 years ago, nearly lost our house to the Caldor fire. That fire burnt on all four sides of our house. And one of the reasons we still have a house is because of our next door neighbor, Paul, who is in his 70s. He's a volunteer firefighter. And so after we got back, we were able to come back into our house. I wanted to bring him dinner, and I thought he was going to start crying. He's somebody who normally just has Lunchables for 3 meals a day. And I just thought, he fights fires because he loves his community and it's something he's able to do. Food is something I'm able to do. So every week I cook a bunch of meals on Friday or Saturday. I package them up. I take some to Paul, our next door neighbor. I take a few to my mom because she's a great cook, but cooking for one is a challenge sometimes. And so it's just a way. I have never been fed by somebody without feeling loved. And that's what I want to pass on to other people, sharing a meal together, inviting people over. And it's so much easier to do when there's a plan.
Kathi Lipp with us. We're talking about a brand new book. It is out. You can get it just in time for Christmas. I love saying that too. Pick up the book. It's a good book. Sabbath Soup. You can go to sabbathsoup.com. You can also go to Amazon if you'd like, but get the book. All right, let's talk a little bit about the recipes. Are they simple? Are they time consuming? And what are your favorites? Did you have 50 recipes and you had to whittle it down to 10? Tell us about it.
There are over 100 recipes in the book, so I got to include a lot of my favorites. I would say if I was going to pick 2 recipes, and these can go together, I've got a mac and cheese there that will make you cry for more. Panko bread topping. It's just delicious. And then there's a tomato soup and recipe where the base is bacon. So we're not talking health food for some of these recipes, but some of them are very, very healthy. But there's definitely comforting, and it just feels like a big hug. I will say they're pretty simple recipes. We tried to pack a lot of flavor without a lot of time because I'll just tell you, cooking for an entire week in one day, you have to keep it simple. You have to be able to kind of push through on that. But we wanted to make it, a lot of the recipes take a long time, but they don't take hands-on time. You're going to let that soup simmer on the stove or in the crock pot. You're going to let things marinate. But once it all comes together, it's dead easy, I promise.
I'm convinced that Jesus and the disciples had a crock pot because they're of God.
Right? Amen. Amen.
Kathi Lipp with us. The book is called Sabbath Soup. It's weekly menus and rhythms to make space for a day of rest. I'm the primary cook of the family because our lives are so busy. And we still have 2 of the boys at home. So, simple is good. Crock pots are good. Soup. Yeah. Oh, yes. Delicious. Come on. So I can't wait to check out this book. All right. The book is out. We want people to pick it up and get it for Christmas. When you put this together, Kathi, these were all yours. Did you what was the response of those around you that said maybe you threw it at and said, hey, I mean, besides Roger, right? You said, hey,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing a menu book. What do you think? What did they say?
Women were begging for it. But Rick, I love to hear that you're the primary cook, because I know I'm speaking mostly to women, but I don't think a lot of non-cooks know how much time, energy, and talent go into cooking on a day-to-day basis. And I think that if we had a few more people who weren't the primary cook there in the kitchen, we get a lot more thank yous, a lot more praise. And this is why I love soup, because you don't have to be a very talented cook to put a few things in the pot with a little bit of chicken broth and a little bit of seasoning, and it comes out. Soup is better the second day.
Yes.
And that's why I love having soup recipes, because you don't have to be an advanced cook. You can be the most basic cook and your soup will still turn out. So women that are the primary cooks are looking for ways to, I don't want to say cheat the system, but make it a lot easier. And I'm of the belief, if it's too much, just buy a couple of containers of soup at Costco and put them in the fridge for Sunday. My main goal is for you to have a break.
Yes.
And so so much of it is just deciding what you're going to do, deciding I'm going to buy that rotisserie chicken, deciding I'm going to buy those 2 containers of soup. Just making that decision gives you an opportunity to rest.
Kathi Lipp, one of our favorites on the show, and we appreciate her taking time out because she is a busy camper. Sabbath Soup is the book, weekly menus and rhythms to make space for a day of rest. Get that for Christmas. And not only that, her decluttering stuff is good. All her stuff is good. You're going to check it out at Kathi Lipp. That's Kathi with an I and 2 P's on lip.com. You can get her books on Amazon. Kathi, as always, you're such a blessing, and we love you dearly. Blessings to you. Hope to talk to you in 2025. Let's do something and see how the book went and what's coming up next for you. We got to go. That we've run out of time. Wish we had more time with Kathi, but hey, you can listen to this podcast again and again. And thank you for downloading them and sharing them. From what I hear, you're doing that. Thank you very much. We love our guests and we love you. Thank you for being a part of Faith Talk Today. Next week, another great show. So join us. Have a blessed week, a great week. I'm Rick Probst. See ya.